I'm an athlete. I have an athlete's mind, an athlete's hand, and athlete's foot. Which really sucks. Because it's itchy.
Hey everybody, this is Praxis. In this video I want to talk about a technique that I use to try to prevent athlete's foot. Whether you are just working out around your homestead or you're trying to survive an alien invasion where they're airdropping bird flu infected clown zombies, or whatever the situation might be, having a case of athlete's foot that is bothering you can be distracting, uncomfortable, and just get in the way of everything else that you're doing. It's been something that's popped up a lot for myself in my life. I tend to be like a sweaty feet kind of guy. In the summertime, I'm always going around barefoot, and people always say to me, Praxis, how can you walk around barefoot? My feet would be all dried and cracked if I did that. So there's a benefit to having moist feet in the summertime because I don't have to deal with that problem. But in the wintertime, when I'm packing them into boots and going out, it's a perfect environment for having athlete's foot pop up. So I really need to keep on top of it. And that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, is a technique that I use to try to keep on top of it so that it doesn't pop up in the first place. Now, if it does pop up, I will stock various athlete's foot medications, and I have those in my pantry with a lot of the other topical medicines that I have. But it's always better to try to prevent something from coming up than having to treat it after the fact. So that's what I want to talk about in this video, is a way that I use to prevent it. Also, at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about what's in this thing. This is not directly related to athlete's foot, but it is foot related, and I absolutely love this thing, and we'll get to this at the end. But first, what I wanted to show you is how I apply foot powder to my feet. Now, that may sound like, wow, what an exciting video, Praxis. I can't wait to see how you put foot powder on your feet. Well, I've come up with a way of doing this. It does a couple of things. One, it has a lot less waste. If you just take this kind of thing and you're trying to put it on your feet, I don't know if you've ever done it, but a lot goes on the floor. It kind of gets everywhere. Also, it is a technique that you can use to really put it on in a liberal sort of way, so you got a lot of powder on there, so it's going to keep your feet extra dry. And the technique that I use is that I take the entire contents of one of these bulk containers and I put it into a small tray that I can put my feet into, and it's like walking around on the beach. It's a wonderful sensation, to get it all over your feet. I'm going to show you how we do it right here. All right, so we're going to start by just taking the lid off of this container, and I just put the knife in there and give it a little bit of an angle. They pop off really easy on these. And then I'm just going to pour the entire contents in here. Now you saw that there was already some in there, but it works a lot better when it's a little bit deeper, for reasons that you'll probably notice in a moment. Okay, put it all out. Part of the benefit of this is that you're not wasting as much, or any, generally. So I want to make sure I don't waste any. Okay, and we just put a foot in. And it's really just around my toes, the tops and the bottoms of the toes that I need to get. If you need to do your whole foot, maybe you'd want a larger container than this. But I just have to do my toes, so I just kind of stick my feet in. You can see it goes all around my toes like that. And then I'm going to put the top of my toe in, just like that. And you can see it really coats super well, like that. And there's piles all over the place, so I'm just going to have my foot hovering over it and just tap my foot. And that makes everything just kind of drop off. And I've got a nice coating on there. And next thing I do is just put my sock on. And I scoop the sock from below to kind of catch anything as I go. Just like that. And you can see on the floor around it, I spilled just a little bit there, but that's it. So no mess. All the stuff is going where you need it. Okay, so I hope you can see that that does a really good job of coating all over your feet, and there's pretty much no mess left over, and that's what I really like. So there's no waste, no mess, and it does a really good job coating things. Now, I mentioned at the end of the video I was going to talk about this. This is something I just kind of got recently, and it relates not to athlete's foot, but to calluses on my feet. Again, because I walk around barefoot an awful lot, I'm always building up calluses on my feet, and I'm in my mid-40s at this point, and they weren't feeling like the same kind of young man calluses that I used to have. They're getting kind of hard and sort of uncomfortable, where part of my foot would have like a hard section on it, and I'd be walking, and it kind of felt like I was walking on pebbles in certain places. So I got a cheese grater for my feet, and I really like this thing. It's one of those things that, like, you know, you use it on yourself, and it's so gratifying to get the callus off that you have to prevent yourself from overdoing it. Like, if I was just left to my own devices, I would just keep going. I'd go like down to bone. But it's worked really, really well to just smooth out all the places where I had, you know, really rough calluses. Now, that said, when I was doing it, I was going very, very gently over it, not pushing down, just letting light gravity kind of float over the surface, and making sure that it wasn't catching on things. As opposed to pushing it, I was doing a lot of pulling, because as you're pulling, if it kind of hits something, it'll kind of pop up and over it. If you're pushing, it's kind of like if you're taking like a plow and you're dragging it across the soil, it can kind of like skip and jump as it goes. But if you are, you know, kind of pushing it, it can like jam in, and, you know, you could go too deep. So I use it very lightly, generally with kind of a pulling motion, and it has really just taken off all of these areas in my feet that were really bothering me a lot and making it kind of actually uncomfortable to walk around without a lot of like padded socks and things. So I'd highly recommend one of these things. I actually bought myself a backup of it as soon as I got the first one. This is my first one, and I've been doing it for several months, just a little bit at a time. You know, I went and I took a bunch off, and then a couple areas of my feet were a little sensitive, so I, you know, put it down, put it away, came back like in a week or two and did a little bit more. So I've been kind of slowly working on my calluses over the past couple months, and doing it really slowly like that has been working out really, really well. And like I said, I've already bought a backup, so if and when this thing ever goes down, you know, I've already got the other one ready to go, because now it feels like a really critical part of my life to have this. Now, that said, in terms of how long I think this is going to last, it's made out of surgical steel, and it shows certainly no sign of dulling in the first couple of months. Not that anyone would expect that. Anyway, if you have any kind of issue like that, I would highly recommend one of these. Really great way of getting your feet back to the way they used to be before they all covered up in like human hoof all over them. So that's it. I hope you found this whole video helpful. It's always great to try to get ahead of problems and prevent them from happening, so that you don't have to deal with them later, whether that's athlete's foot or, you know, the kind of issues that you can get if you're walking on feet that feel like they've got like pebbles under them. That can create issues all up and down your back as you're trying to like walk on your feet in kind of a weird way. Heading off problems before they become problems is always the best way to solve them. That's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for new videos all the time. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so either through Patreon or PayPal.